Hi, I'm Ashley Swartz here at UBeacon Europe with Andy Plesser and the BTV team. I have the pleasure of speaking to Tom McDonnell today, who is one of the co-founders of Monterosa. We're going to be on a panel together in a little bit, and I would love to hear, Tom, about some of the projects you have and kind of what your business model is. I understand that you're working in the second screen, predominantly in the UK. Could you tell me a little bit about how you're working with content partners and networks?
Sure. Well, we work mainly with broadcasters and production companies, and occasionally with brands and agencies. And in technological terms, we provide technology direct to the broadcaster in the majority of instances, and then work on the content-specific piece with the producer. An alternative way of doing it is that we sometimes contract through the production company to the broadcaster. So that's how we work most of the time. We make our money by charging for software usage and for the creative services around the creation of a play-along game or whatever interactive experience.
And the production companies or broadcasters with whom you're working, are they asking you to integrate advertising functionality or advertising units within the applications that you build for co-viewing?
We're usually asking them to do that.
And that is because you think there's high revenue potential? Is that because you're seeing some good numbers? Because I would love to hear about some of the audience numbers.
So what we've found over the years, and we've been at this for a little longer than most, is that where you have your biggest successes is where a production, whether it's a game show or a piece of sport coverage or whatever it is where the production buys into the interactivity 100%, where from the very top down everybody wants the audience to be involved. And where you crack it, where you get it right, you can see anything from maybe 1% to up to 12.5% of the TV audience engaging. And that number then starts to look quite interesting to advertisers, but it's only once it gets into the 50, 100, 150,000 concurrent users that advertisers are interested. So what we're encouraging broadcasters to do is experiment with different business models as a way of monetizing those sorts of audiences, but only when numbers are that big. So
this is interesting. Some of your greatest successes as far as numbers have gone are on game shows, primetime game shows that the production team's on board. Tell me a little bit about how that mechanic works, because in the States in particular, we don't have a lot of primetime game shows. Are you getting the tune-in? Is that what's driving the ambition of the production company, or do they believe they're creating a better show and better content by virtue of integrating the interactive elements from the start?
Game shows are definitely the game show formats get the highest response at the moment, and I think that's primarily because the experience that's online, playing along with a game show, has perfect synergy with what people are watching on TV. So that's where it started, but we're actually working across reality, sports, news, magazine shows, lots and lots of different types of shows, which, although they don't see the sort of 10–12% conversion rates, they do get healthy rates when the talent's bought into the idea.
So if you had to foreshadow over the next 12 months as what's going to happen in the second screen space, I think we all agree there's going to be convergence and sort of not as many players in 12 months as there is today. Where are you placing your bets? Is it with the content owners and the experiences they create? Is it with networks and broadcasters?
Well, content owners are absolutely key. So, our belief is that the interactivity needs to be part of the idea quite early on, at least before it gets to the point where everybody's signed off on it. So we're fostering our relationships with creatives, but in parallel, because broadcasters tend to want to sell advertising or monetization directly, they very rarely allow third parties to do that. We're also working with the broadcaster to try and develop models, to try and develop sort of repetitive advertiser formats and transactional formats that they can roll out time and time again.
The last question I want to ask you, I've heard this word now, you were the second person to use it, freemium. It's not a common sort of word in the lexicon of converged TV in the States right now. And I know you just launched an iOS application. Could you tell me a little bit about that business model and what you're seeing? I know you can't speak specific numbers, but how it's scaling in a gross terms?
Sure. Well, we just launched the iOS version of the play-along game for £1 Million Drop. So it's £1 Million Drop is a game show on Channel 4. It's been around for over a year now, and it's a great success for Channel 4. People currently play along for free on their laptop, and we've taken our time about releasing a mobile app, but it's out there as of the weekend. The numbers are encouraging. I can't share the specifics, but the business model is what's really interesting. It's free to play along with the show, So as we've seen, you get quite high responses to a show like that. But then you can pay to play a 24/7 anytime version of the game, and we're selling question packs to enthusiasts who want to test their sports trivia knowledge or sort of content-specific themes.
And are there any embedded incentives of financial or prizing or anything associated with the original programming?
Originally there was nothing, and then over time we've added the incentive of being able to get on the show. So it's a sort of casting mechanism for the show itself. Although I have to say, there's a common misunderstanding that you need to offer incentive to get people to play. We haven't seen any evidence to suggest that is a big driver of uptake. It's actually just pure enjoyment.
Okay. So it goes back to the fact that content is king and it's about the experience. Awesome. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it.